Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt Mahaffey from sElf. Matt, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Well, all right, Matt. All you listeners out there, if you're sElf fans, you're going to love this because Matt Mahaffey is the front man of the band sElf, formerly from Murfreesboro. And, well, I got a couple questions for you, Matt. First of all, now I know we talked at the Borough Thursday night about what's going on with the new album, but just kind of reiterate for the listeners out there, what is the status of Ornament and Crime?
We were trying to find a home for it. So,
Okay.
Hopefully, sorry, there's a bus going by me right now. Hopefully it'll be released as soon as possible.
Okay. And
we're not really sure. The album is done, though, and we're really happy with it.
Okay.
And we'd love to see it come out, but unfortunately DreamWorks, with the state of the industry, has been sold to Vivendi Universal, and as well as a lot of other labels.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure if it's going to operate as an umbrella underneath that or not. But
okay,
they basically didn't listen to the record, and they didn't want to Universal didn't want to pick it up because sElf, unfortunately, doesn't look very good on paper. So
yeah.
So I take pride in knowing that they didn't listen to it because that means that we weren't let go for not being creative or something or losing our spunk.
Well, I bet if they listened to the album with songs like "Grow Up," which I could hear that being a hit single just right off the bat.
That's actually one of my least favorite songs on the album. So
really,
yeah, that's why we kind of put it out there.
That's the way it goes a lot of times, unfortunately. All right, so let's go back to now. I told the listeners a little bit earlier about that we went to the same high school and grew up in the same area. So when you're going to South and you're being a teenager and you're finding yourself, what were your influences and how did you get into music and how did the band sElf form?
Well, basically, I went through several awkward phases. I played bluegrass when I went to South. When I was like 15, 16, I would drive up to Bristol and play with these old men at these square dances and make like $30, and then drive home and go to school the next day. And then I thought I was black for like 10 years, and made beats and was into like hip hop, Run DMC, Beastie Boys. I was into like R&B. Guy and New Edition, and I was into producers like R&B producers and hip hop producers, Hank and Keith Shockley, Teddy Riley, just good track makers. And then after that, I went to college at MTSU, and then I discovered the beauty of rock and roll. And then so when it came time, I started making demos in my dorm room at Gracie Hall, and on a 4-track, yeah. And my roommate moved out, and so I kind of turned it into a studio of sorts and was using the quad bathroom to record vocals in. And I'd always go around to the quad and ask people if, hey, you going to use the bathroom? Can I borrow it for a minute? And I'd record stuff in it. And I'd have rap groups come in. And needless to say, I didn't make good grades because I wasn't really going to class or paying attention in class, which is unfortunate. But so I got suspended. Or whatever it is that they do to you when you don't have good grades. And I never went back, but fortunately I took all my Englishes.
Yeah.
And I decided to, after that, after college, I started a studio on Lee Street and moved up to ADATS. And it was on Lee Street that I wrote a lot of the Subliminal Plastic Motives record. And then we put a band together and got signed at the Exit Inn.
Wow.
Off of Leaf Street demos.
Yeah. And that was to Universal?
That was to Zoo Entertainment.
Zoo Entertainment, okay. All right.
Former home of Tool. I mean, I think they're still there, but it's called Volcano now.
Okay. Cool. Okay. And so about Sponge Bath Records, was that the label that kind of formed out of your dorm room? Was that your thing, or was that somebody else?
No, it was namely Richard Williams who formed Sponge Bath. There used to be a coffee shop over across from I guess the Blue Raider bookstore. Is that still there?
Yeah, it's on Greenland.
Yeah, it's kind of adjacent to that. Anyway, there was a coffee shop over there called Communion Cafe, and Seth used to work there.
Seth Timms he's from yeah, right, okay.
And he used to work there, and I used to go there all the time. And we were there with Richard one day, and Richard was like, I want to start a label, and Seth was like, you should call it Sponge Bath. And we were at that point we were all kind of partners in crime, and we just from there it kind of snowballed, and we got actually money for distribution and money for a facility, so we kind of set up shop right there on the square, and Richard just took it and ran with it,
Nice. Okay. So yeah, I'm learning a lot. Like, I've always been a fan, and like I said to you Thursday night, I would almost give anything to be older so that I could have been in Murfreesboro at that time, because I know that was kind of the heyday of the local music scene around here. So you've been in LA for the past, ever since 1999, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're back in town now. You're in Nashville right now producing a band. And so what's it like to come back to Murfreesboro and go to the borough and see the features? And
it's amazing. I mean, I've honestly never seen the borough smoked like that.
Wow. So
they smoked it.
Back in the days, it wasn't quite as like as packed, and the sound wasn't as good.
It was definitely packed. I mean, I've been to Katie's shows there that were just off the hook. People lined up around the block. And the borough's been packed. It will always be packed.
Yeah.
I just think that Lee, that owns the place, should install like a little camera on one of those, up in the little lighting trusses. It cost him $70, and he could route that to that big screen TV. So when it is packed in there, people could see the band, and it'd be a cool angle, and it'd be a lot cooler.
That's a good idea.
Instead of people watching, Shaquille O'Neal and car commercials and stuff,
right,
while the features are up there just smoking it,
Yeah. So, all right. So the new album, we're not sure what's going to happen with that. What about touring plans? I know you mentioned that you might be planning a solo gig, but either with Self or as Matt Mahaffey. What does the future hold?
I did an acoustic show. I was actually asked by Britt Daniel of Spoon to open for him in Silver Lake, California, and I'm a big Spoon fan, so I agreed, and so I had put together an acoustic set, and I had so much fun that, the recording came out really well, the video came out really well, so we're going to make a DVD of that, and I was really nervous because that was honestly my first acoustic show that I've ever done, and had a good time, so I'm thinking about going out and just kind of, planning a short run tour.
Cool.
And I think that I could probably get gigs all across the country. And,
you could. I know you could definitely get one here in Murfreesboro. That's for sure. Would Murfreesboro be on your list?
Of course.
All right. Good deal. So if you're just tuning in, we've got Matt Mahaffey from Self on the line here, and we have just a couple more questions, and we'll let you get back to your producing gig there. So if you had like one memory from Murfreesboro, from the days of, you being here in Sponge Bath Records, like one thing that sticks out to you, what would that be?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess the fact that, I don't know, my opinion of Murfreesboro stems around MTSU kind of. I don't think that the bands that formed would have, I think the college has a lot to do with it. It's what drew me to Murfreesboro. So
yeah,
I would say that like it's just a special town for music because rental property's cheap, houses are cheap. You can set up a space and make good recordings and have a lot of space, which I really miss living in Los Angeles because it's really pricey and you can't afford a space to record live drums in and stuff. So. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I guess it's just a good town to get something going.
Yeah, I agree. I've fallen in love with the music scene around here. It's produced. Now I know here lately the stories has been Feeble Wiener, and
those guys are great. I knew
you'd like those guys. Because you're an extremely good songwriter, and Adam and Josh are good songwriters, and the good songwriters tend to stick together. And
yeah, and honestly, like, you have the Features. They've been together for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're like brothers now, and I see that in Adam and Jeff Horn and those guys too. You know, they came out to LA and we went to see them, and they're just like doing it. And that's what you got to do. You got to really dedicate your time and be a band and go through all the motions.
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. It's not fun living out of a van.
It's not, and they've been doing that. They've been touring like mad for the past couple years.
I looked at their tour dates online, and it was just like something I'd never seen before. They're playing every single night for like a year.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I asked him, you know, I'm like, Adam, how do you do this? And he's like, well, it gets really tiring while you're doing it, and then you come home, you take a couple weeks off, and like 2 days into that, you're like, I'm ready to get back out there again because you miss it. And I'm like, wow, it's, you know, if you can do that, more power to you.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, I remember him, he was very humbled by the fact that you came to see them, in LA, because I asked him about, you know, he was like, yeah, Matt Mahaffey was at our show, and I was so nervous, I was like singing everything perfectly on key and stuff, you know, because it's Matt Mahaffey, you know, and,
Oh, shit.
and, I knew that would be really flattering for you, but it's true though.
No, those guys are amazing. They're really, really good, and I guess when they got out there, they'd been touring a lot, and they were just so tight.
They indeed are.
Tight.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here, but my friend Liz has a question for you. She asked, do you like pudding, and what flavor?
Chocolate.
Chocolate?
Love chocolate pudding.
Love chocolate pudding, okay.
I don't like any of the swirly stuff. I don't like vanilla. I don't like flavored stuff. Just chocolate. That's the best.
Okay.
And I'm not a big chocolate fan. I just like chocolate pudding.
Yeah. Okay, and I have one little crazy question of my own for you. Being from East Tennessee, I'm sure you know what sweet tea is.
Of course.
Okay, and I'm sure that you drank sweet tea being from East Tennessee.
Yep.
LA, there's no such thing as sweet tea, is there?
No, you have to order an Arnold Palmer, which is half lemonade, half tea, and it's nothing like a sweet tea that you would get at, say, Pal's.
Right. Oh, Pals. That's the thing. I was going to ask you about Pals. The Pals is like a Kingsport thing. Nobody else knows what Pals...
I actually contacted them through their website and was trying to franchise a store in Murfreesboro when I lived here.
Oh, that's great.
I was really trying to just open one because I know that people would go there.
Especially college kids.
Yeah, it's so good, man. And so, you know, they weren't interested. They were like, you know what, our distributors don't go through there. We're thinking about coming there one day, but no.
Yeah, they've I think the farthest they've gone south is like Johnson City and Elizabeth and...
Right, Johnson City has one, and the guy lives in Kingsport on Stone Drive, I believe it is.
Yeah, Powell Barger.
Yeah, he's a very eccentric dude. He's got a really cool house, you know.
Yeah, he's kind of a famous person around Kingsport.
He owns Scoby's too, right?
I believe so.
That's a good restaurant.
Yeah, and his wife Sharon owns Sharon's Burgers in downtown Kingsport.
Right on.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever had one of her burgers, but they're really good.
I'll check it out next time I'm there.
Yeah. So do you go to Kingsport very often, or?
I don't get back there as much as I wish. My father lives in Gray.
Yeah.
But my mom lives here and my brother lives here, and it's just always so nice to come back and hang out with the family and see my nephew and niece and you know, kick it. So I really miss, you know, my family for sure. But at the same time, it's like I'm only going to be in LA for probably 5 more years. I don't know. We'll see what happens. People say that the only reason you would move to LA is so you can make enough money to move out.
Right.
That's definitely my goal.
Okay. Well, we're gonna start to wrap things up here because I've got to take a break, and frankly, I don't wish to take you away from Luna Halo any longer. I'm sure they're missing you already.
Everything's turning out great, and I really appreciate you having me on your show.
I thank you for being willing to do it. I'm sure that a lot of the sElf fans from Murfreesboro around here have been just dying to get a little dose of something sElf. You know?
Yeah, I understand, and I appreciate everyone's patience. It's just been really, really a struggle to get this record pushed through. So if it doesn't get pushed through, then I'm gonna finish up the new one, the new one.
Right. Even more stuff, and I have faith that you could do that. You could write 5 albums worth of material if you wanted to, probably.
I don't know.
You're like,
somebody's releasing them, I will.
Yeah, I mean, but you're like a creative well, a bottomless creative well, because you've already got, in between the B-sides and the EPs and the albums, I mean, that's a crap load of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
But all right, so this is
that or a load of crap.
Yeah. All right, so this has been Matt Mahaffey on Fascination Street. I am Steve Cross, and my show is about to end. And like I said, this has been Matt Mahaffey from the band sElf for this little interview. And thank you, Matt. It's been great talking to you. And why don't you do a little spot real quick for the station? And I'm recording this right now, and we'll stick it on the wave cart.
Okay. What kind of spot do you want me to do?
Just mention your name and the band sElf, and say that somewhere in there that this is 88.3 WMTS.
Okay. I mean, are you still on the air right now?
Yeah.
You want me to do like a spot live on the air?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Hey, yo, this is Matt Mahaffey from sElf, and you're listening to 88.3 WMTS. Bitches.
All right. Thank you very much, Matt. We'll cut that out of there, and we'll make it an official WMTS liner.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Matt, and we'll let you go here and play Legal ID, and we'll be back after the break. Bye-bye.